The foundations of the subconscious mind. As a young budding salesman, I first became aware and interested in the subject of psychology from an early age, when my grandfather used to tell me stories of a great friend of his. Sia was his name. I recall how he would use psychology upon unsuspected people, and how he was a great salesman and could sell sand to an Arab, and how he would hypnotize people, especially upon traveling the trains and underground of London. You see, the thoughts of my mind were already being programmed for the future. As I grew older, I seemed to be attracted into a sales future. As if being led into a groove, I became a salesman. Was this planned, or was my mind conditioned? We are all constantly being programmed throughout our daily life. Just analyze this for a moment. Why do we think in a certain way? Why do we hold certain beliefs? How do we come to a certain conclusion? Why do we mix with certain types of people? Why do we wear a type of clothing? Why do we eat what we do? Why do we buy a certain product? And why do we have many different traits? The answer: subconscious mind-changing suggestion. Planted by someone or something in our life experiences up to the present time, linking to our experiences through our NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, belief system. The subconscious. At this stage, I am going to introduce to you the foundation thesis of this manual and the psychology of the human mind, and in particular the subconscious belief system. The brain is divided into two parts. Half of the brain controls an opposite side of the body, whilst the other side of the brain controls the other half of your body. If you are right-handed, 85% approximately of the population, then the left hemisphere of your brain controls the right side of your body. Opposite if you are left-handed. Your left hemisphere part of the brain controls all conscious thought and logical thinking, such as reason, language, mathematics, reading, writing, linear analysis. Your right side of the brain controls all your creativity, your unconscious and subconscious, imagination, rhythm, visualization, images, memory, body functions. Joining together the two parts of the brain are direct neural connectors called corpus callosum. This is how transmission of thoughts from your right side of the brain to your left are transmitted. Your brain also has a stem at its base that in turn is connected to your spinal cord and nervous system. The right part of the brain is where your subconscious is mainly situated. It has control over the autonomic nervous system, i.e. involuntary glands, muscles, organs, etc. The subconscious is a non-thinking service mechanism, likened to a computer's programming chip. It cannot reason, analyze or argue with you. It only serves you. We all have a subconscious. It is the powerhouse of everything we do. It is the seat of our imagination. It is intermingled to our experiences and memory. It controls our emotions, our feelings. It succumbs to fears. It rejoices in our ecstasy. It can secrete into the brain and body tissue over 2,000 chemicals. It never sleeps. It controls all non-thinking processes such as heartbeat, breathing, blood pressure and so on. Let me give you a small sample of its power. Can you remember what you were doing 10 years ago on a Tuesday morning at 11 a.m.? I very much doubt whether you can, but logged somewhere in your memory banks of your brain are every memory, of every minute, of your life experiences. Memories. Memories you can probably remember are sudden implants, such as when you achieved something special or an accident or something horrific, certainly something that kept an electric neuron still firing from your subconscious to the conscious parts of the brain. As a qualified hypnotist, by introducing trance, I could regress you back, step by step, to the exact time and place in your life that you cannot consciously remember. Tapping into the subconscious memory, you could tell me everything that you were doing at that precise moment in time. Even what you were wearing and what the weather was like on that particular day. Another example of the power of the brain is if I asked you to remember something that comes to your memory, say back in your childhood, perhaps at school. Right now, you could remember that moment, within seconds. Try it now. If I were to tell you that the most modern sophisticated of today's computers would take up to 24 hours to sift through all that information which is logged in your life memories, to come to that point in question that you have just thought of, would you now agree that the human brain is truly amazing? The subconscious versus conscious mind. Conscious thoughts are what you are doing right now, absorbing the information written out before you. Your memory banks are sifting through all the information and storing the files in order of importance for you to draw on at a later date. Consciousness is thought, brought on by an electric current from the brain cell muscle, by way of neurons firing repeatedly along fiber nerves. Brain cells are continually dying, in fact at the rate of millions per day. But don't be alarmed, as there are billions of cells in the human brain and cannot be used up in a person's lifetime. As an analogy, the brain muscle is shaped similar to a half walnut, consisting of a gray matter, enclosed within the hard cranium shell, resting upon hard bony plinths. The workings of the human brain are more complex than any computer ever made. It can absorb thousands of facts in split seconds, take on board life-threatening situations and help divert blood flow and adrenaline to parts of the body in distress. It is the great main control tower of the human body. My favorite metaphor for the conscious and unconscious minds is a darkened room with all sorts of objects littered about it, the subconscious, and a torch, the conscious, picking out details in the room, able to focus upon only a few things at any one time. Whatever the torch is shining upon will be brightly lit and visible, while the rest of the room is dark. Although the rest of the room is still there, you cannot see it. In the same way, whatever your attention is focused on is uppermost in your consciousness, and the rest of your memories and your wisdom are still there. In one sense, our lives are run mainly by our subconscious minds. We are largely unaware of our autonomic processes and thinking, and yet every single second our subconscious mind receives 2 million messages of sensory awareness. It would be impossible to process all that information consciously, so the subconscious sorts it and presents you with a summary of what is taking place. For example, when you are in a crowded room, your subconscious mind is monitoring all the conversations that are taking place around you. Then, if somebody over the other side of the room says your name, suddenly you hear it. The subconscious mind sorted that piece of information and brought it to your conscious attention. The subconscious can also delete information from our awareness. The subconscious mind is like a computer. It is constantly fed with information. From the day we were born, millions upon millions of facts are being soaked up, just like a sponge, whether we are conscious of this or not. To begin to start a new and wonderful understanding of your potential and the power you will have over your prospect, a little understanding about psychology is very important. Each school of psychology has its own views from Jung to Freud, but all believe in the common factor of unconscious thoughts that rule our lives, from behavior to mechanical thoughts, and how organism can turn into a series of stimulus response. Every thought or idea causes a physical reaction within a person's body. For example, worry, anger, anxiety, fear, stimulates the adrenal glands, and the increased adrenaline in the bloodstream causes many body changes, which in turn affects your pulse rate. The increased adrenaline causes cholesterol that hardens the arteries. This can contribute to heart problems. On the other hand, feelings of achievement, satisfaction, well-being can trigger off beneficial hormones and opiates, such as endorphins, etc. Condition response within the nervous system can therefore be controlled by thoughts within the brain, either good or bad. I will give you an example of an experience I had using this psychological tool. Subconscious belief. We, the human race, are unique specimens, for we are the only species upon this planet who know and realize that we are in fact aware of being aware. Unfortunately for most of us, conscious thoughts are taken for granted, not really understanding or realizing that conscious thinking is a product of brain activity that is stimulated by the subconscious programmed mind. The subconscious mind contains all your wisdom, memory intelligence. It is your source of creativity. It regulates body maintenance and autonomic processes like breathing, blood circulation and tissue regeneration. The conscious mind cannot heal a cut or accelerate your heartbeat to the correct rate. The subconscious mind does. It is the seat of your emotions and directs nearly all of your behavior. Everything that has ever happened to you and everything that you have ever imagined is stored as a multi-sensory recording in your subconscious mind and reveals details of incidents that happened many years before, all of which are filed away within the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind works by association, by looking at something and seeing the similarities with a past event. Of course, the words conscious and subconscious are only models for the way your mind works, but they are the best and easiest way to explain the complicated structure of the human brain. Consciousness is not fixed in either the conscious or the unconscious. It is a spectrum of awareness. Example of subconscious learning. When a person first learns a skill, they would mentally practice the visual images of their achievement, then after practice put into successful action. For example, when you first learned to drive a car, you would consciously think about every move. You would firstly think about the mirror, then the steering, the gear change, from first to second to third and so on. You would most probably think of every little detail of your journey. However, with many hours of practice, your subconscious mind takes on board a learned memory. And now, if you are a driver, you could drive from home to work, for example, without consciously remembering how you had done that. Your subconscious auto-serving mechanism mind has taken over. You may be asking, what has all this information got to do with selling? It is very important to have a basic understanding of the conscious and subconscious mind, allowing you to fathom out another person's mind, and in the next page I shall discuss how you can read another person's train of thought. Please come back for the next episode.